The Mariners wrap up a series against the Astros with a matinee finale today. George Kirby on the mound. First pitch is at 1:10 p.m. Pregame show starts at noon right here on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
Man, it feels like a Wednesday or a Sunday. What's going on? A Monday matinee series finale? What's going on with a 4-game series? Just a really weird one against the Astros. Thankfully, though, Curtis, a great one. Because the Mariners have already taken this series with back-to-back-to-back wins, and the vibe shift was needed.
Absolutely. Think about where we were on
down bad
Friday,
is how I would describe it.
Friday morning when we hit the air.
Man.
4-9. Coming off that brutal Texas series.
Tough stuff.
Everybody was feeling a little uncomfortable. It was
the number of times I said it's early.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like it saying it that much.
No.
It's true, but...
Were we excuse making? Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I wasn't.
Lo and behold, it is still early.
It
and
is.
Things have swung very much in the Mariners' favor here over the last 3 days.
Including the bats.
And honestly, coming into today, and maybe this will get, old takes exposed, but I feel like a sweep or a mop is a near certainty today. In fact, I'll go and guarantee it. I think the Mariners win today.
No, don't do that. Curtis.
Yep, I think the Mariners win today.
Curtis, don't do that.
Sweep this
Don't
Astros
do that,
team
Brady.
in 4 games. This Astros team is basura right now. They have been so bad. 26 walks over 3 games. They don't have a healthy pitcher anywhere in their rotation, anywhere in their bullpen. They are, paper clips and Band-Aids and gum.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's keeping this thing together for them. The Mariners feasting on it right now, and I think today is just going to be a really fun day out the ball.
You know what I'm upset about, though? Because I would have bet American Tender that they would wrap up this series with a win today. But because you said it, remember when Matt got on me because he said that I jinxed the Mariners, and I said jinxes aren't real, jinxes don't happen?
Yeah.
And then you guys I don't know, went on for like a week. You guys were like, jinxes are real. I'm telling you jinxes are real. And now you're ignoring your own advice.
You're right. But
that's how confident you are.
I am ignoring my own advice,
fine.
and I'm
Okay.
recognizing the vibe.
You guys know who to blame.
Yeah.
No, but I think you're right. And I think you're right in part because of what we liked seeing in this series. So let's go ahead and get to it. We saw in this one, Cal Raleigh hit his second home run. And that was that Saturday game. I think was the best we saw of Cal. It was good ABs. I think he had 3 RBI, if I'm not mistaken. 2-run bomb, sac fly. But importantly, just felt like he was seeing things. Clearly, I know that Sunday wasn't great. He was 0 for whatever. He's going to have those days. Everyone will. I really liked seeing how aggressive he was with challenges as a catcher and bat.
Yeah, I think his performance on Saturday was a really welcome sight to see, especially because of how much he has scuffled this year. Really, both him and Julio on Saturday doing their part. And when those two are going, when those two are hitting, and not just hitting but mashing home runs, it is really tough to beat this team. And even in Saturday's game when they fell down 7-2, the fact that both those guys were getting going, and Julio's home run, which we'll get to later on in this segment, but those two guys are the most important players on this roster, and once they get going, like, all of a sudden now things drastically change. And you saw it on Saturday, the momentum in that game. Falling down 7-2, things looked a little bit bleak, but you battle back with a 5-run fifth, and then after that, it was just kind of like, all right, as long as this game stays close, I think the Mariners have a shot.
I'm totally with you. There are times when I'm like, man, Stacy, you need to do a better job of covering like how great Cole Young's start to the season is. Luke Raley had a fantastic Sunday. You need to pay attention to this. Stop focusing so much on Cal, Julio, and Naylor. And then I'm like, yeah, but
those are the guys.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, man, I don't want to, and I don't mean to sound critical at all. It's just that the hopes of winning a World Series hinge not entirely on them, but by large part on them. And so it is hard for Mariners fans, for analysts, for reporters not to very routinely follow what they're doing. You can feel as great as you want about Cole Young's start to the season, and I think you should feel fantastic, but you feel a little bit better when you see Cal and Julio get into the swing of things.
The season's not going to hinge on what Cole Young does so much so as it would what Cal and Julio do.
What else did you like from this series?
I like Luke Raley's performance yesterday. 3 hits, 2 doubles, a lot of hustle plays out there, scored a run on a sacrifice fly, had the hit that really broke the game wide open yesterday. That is somebody who I think didn't get enough recognition in the offseason because of what he went through in 2025, dealing with all the injuries, playing just a fraction of the games. But when he was healthy the year prior, he was a force in the lineup. And he was somebody that I think a lot of people really liked. And to see him kind of get back to that 2024 form, that was very encouraging to see over this weekend. And, I mean, his OPS is up over 800, batting average around 255. I would take those numbers any day of the week from Luke Raley.
Let's talk about what we loved, and I'm going to immediately go to cut 8, Brady.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Got him. A fastball at 97. Heat right by Loperfido. Logan Gilbert. Great day here at T-Mobile Park. He has gone 7 full, allowed just 1 run to the Houston Astros. Everything the Mariners were hoping for today.
Loved only 4 hits, allowed 4, right? Maybe 5. Loved only 1 run allowed, but really, really, really loved all of that over 7 innings. We lamented last year that Logan, who is obviously central to this team, and a guy who in 2024 gave you so many innings, we lamented that he couldn't quite do that, and I'm sure no one was more bothered by that than Logan last year. And so it was one of our goals heading into this season when we were talking about things that we were tracking for players. For Logan specifically, it was innings pitched, right? Not necessarily just strikeouts, just whatever, but innings pitched. Can he give you more quality starts? Can he get you more innings? It was great to see 7.
Yeah. It was incredible.
It was incredible.
7. And, I mean, you kind of hate to describe one of the best pitchers in the rotation as like, if he could just get through 7. Like, when it was such a guarantee a couple of years ago that, like, Logan Gilbert was going to get you 6 or 7 innings in a start. But, yeah, I really like him kind of returning to that form of a couple of years ago. And maybe he's sacrificing some of those strikeouts in order to get deeper and deeper into the ball games. What I loved, Stacy, was really Julio's entire weekend, but the biggest moment in cut number 2, that 2-run home run to tie the game on Saturday.
And again, the 1-2 on the way to Julio, swinging a fly ball deep to center field. Trammell going back to the warning track, to the wall, looking up. Goodbye, baseball! To the base of the batter's eye, straight away center field. Julio pumping his fist high in the air as he rounds second. His first home run of the 2026 season. Holy smokes, has tied the game at 7-7 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. What a comeback by the comeback kids.
There are people in your life that will tell you that Julio Rodriguez is not clutch.
And those people are fools.
Do not listen to them. Cut them out of your life. They do not know ball. And Julio Rodriguez is absolutely clutch. We saw it all playoffs long. Like, he was so clutch every single game. And then coming up in that spot, 5th inning Saturday. Yeah, I love that.
I like your truth commercial for just, there are people who will try to convince you.
Do not listen to them.
Dare to keep people away from non-ball knowers.
Yeah.
Get them out. Last 30 seconds here. I just want to know if there's anything. I'm going to preface this always by saying it's early, but something you didn't love that that maybe you're going to keep a close eye on in the next couple series here.
Yeah, Luis Castillo, second straight start, didn't make it out of the 4th inning. That's a bit concerning. Now, did get off to a really good start this year with the 6 shutout innings against the Yankees, so I will keep my eye open for that over the next couple of weeks. If Luis Castillo, if this is just kind of a blip, or if this is maybe something to be concerned about.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching Josh Naylor a little closely. I still have all the confidence in the world. He'll be just fine. I love the energy and just kind of the edge and intensity that he brings this team. I'd love to see that bat heat up a little bit, though, so get a chance to watch that over the next couple games here. Headline rewrites coming your way next.
Here for my friends at People Come First. You've heard me talk about them. PCF Construction Group. People come first. And if you've been dreaming of a new deck, well, now is the time to call PCF before the good weather arrives and their schedule gets all filled up. With a new deck, patio cover, heater, and fireplace from PCF, you can enjoy your outdoor space year-round no matter the weather. And for a limited time, get 50% off demolition costs. That's up to $5,000 when you book your project with PCF. Contact People Come First Construction Group for all the details. You know, they designed and built our outdoor living space, and we loved it. Start planning and designing your dream deck now so you're ready to build this summer. Planning, permitting, construction, they take time. So don't wait another day. Get started today. Get project ideas, browse their amazing photos, and find all the offer details at pcfgroup.com. That's pcfgroup.com.
Making your outdoor space with People Come First.
Hour and a half drive here to have fun here for 8 to 9 hours a day versus if it's the other way around, then I'll take it.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
You can count on the Seattle Times for local news and information on your teams and your scores. Get inside the game and go beyond the stats with game summaries, player interviews, and play-by-play analysis every day. Read our coverage at seattletimes.com/sports.
Are you stuck staring at your W-2? Are tax refund worries holding you back? You probably have FOMO, the fear of messing up. The fix? Using TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. It's time to overcome your fear of messing up and get your taxes done right. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.
Mariners and Astros today at T-Mobile. First pitch at 1:10, pregame at noon. Hear every pitch live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
Hello, Seattle. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account in participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Oil isn't the only resource hit hard by global events. American farmers are sounding the alarm by fertilizer prices at planting season. Will this disrupt our food supply? Raising prices cause shortages? I'm not waiting to find out, and neither should you. Go to mypatriotsupply.com, get a 3-month emergency food supply. They'll include $200 worth of extra survival protein absolutely free. After serving more than 3 million American families since 2008, you can trust mypatriotsupply.com. Go to mypatriotsupply.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Extra, extra, real
Headline Rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news.
Powered by Bay Alarm Security Services.
With Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Rory McIlroy became just the 4th golfer ever to win back-to-back Masters and the first since Tiger Woods did it in 2001 and 2002. What's the real headline?
Michael Bumpus with back-to-back Masters Mondays taken off in celebration. Little interesting coincidence here.
Interesting. That Masters nap turned into a Masters slumber for Michael Bumpus.
Did I not see? So I didn't watch this moment live, but I tried everything I could to find like highlights and just kind of like the right final shot.
Am I
crazy? Yeah, am I crazy, or did they kind of like miss the final shot?
That.
Is this secretly, was this like a live copy and I couldn't find the clip?
Right,
like, did anyone actually see it?
You could only see the back of Rory McIlroy. You couldn't even see the ball going.
What was happening? There's no way that was plan A. They had to have a camera down. Something was happening.
Yeah, I feel bad for whoever like the director in the truck is for CBS.
That's what I'm saying. When they were, I saw so many people going, "Oh my God, I can't believe that wasn't a plan, man.
Yeah.
Something happened, and I need to know where the footage is."
But I mean, Rory now goes from the guy who could never win the Masters to now winning back to back. Like, what do we? How do we talk about him now? It's like there's nothing this guy can't do.
I always love that too, in general, when guys are clearly excellent at what they do and face the stereotype of not being able to finish or not being able to win it all or do whatever. Some of the best players, regardless of sport, we've seen have faced that. Peyton Manning for a minute, Clayton Kershaw for a while. Regardless of whether or not those players have played for teams I cover or teams I watched, I always really like it when they break that, because it feels like such a dumb goalpost moving type thing to say about someone who's so exceptional at what they do. So good for him.
Who are the athletes now? I would say
Josh Allen,
Aaron Judge,
Lamar,
Connor McDavid.
Oh, yes. That's a perfect trio, actually.
Yeah.
Lamar you could toss in with Allen, but both of them kind of represent MVP that can't get by Mahomes.
And both Judge went to a World Series recently. McDavid went to back-to-back Stanley Cups. Couldn't win it with the Oilers. Who knows if it's going to happen this year?
I know I just said regardless of whether or not I've covered that team or it's a different one. I don't want to see that with Aaron Judge.
I'm fine with him being one of the greatest Yankees ever, but also no rings.
I take back what I said.
Because like nearly every great Yankee has won a World Series.
Because it's the Yankees for life, though. Like I will say it's mostly true about teams that don't affect me in any way, but in this case it would stand in the way of the Mariners doing it. So, but all of that being said, I do typically find it to be, in general, if I remove Aaron Judge and the Yankees from it, a way for us to just critique guys that and women that are exceptional at what they do. And we just find ways, well, Josh Allen can't win it all. Lamar can't win it all. And it's like, all right, man, look, eventually they will. But it's incredibly difficult to get to that place, and you have so few opportunities.
Headline Rewrites.
Headline number 2, the Mariners go for a sweep in their 4-game series against the Astros later this afternoon. What's the real headline?
Get the mop.
That's right.
Well, or you jinxed him.
I didn't jinx him.
I don't think you did.
I feel very confident in this.
Yeah.
Very confident.
This is an Astros team that's down bad. You know what? Even if the Astros win today, I feel Nothing. I'm like, all right, I feel really encouraged by what I saw. This is a banged-up Astros team that has horrible pitching.
You know what Houston, Curtis, and Stacy are probably saying in their headline rewrite segment?
Ooh, what?
Houston, we've got a problem. That's
that's totally what they're saying.
And then they're probably eating
What do you
barbecue
think
and
Houston,
stuff.
Curtis, and Stacy are like?
They probably travel on the freeway a lot. Just a lot of freeway commuting.
Do you want to go through the lineup?
Yeah, lineup. We got Brendan Donovan leadoff. Cal's your DH today. Julio in center. Naylor at first. Randy in left. Luke Raley in right. JP at short. Mitch Garver behind the plate. And then Cole Young at second base. So Garver getting the start at catcher today. Cal with the day off at DH because he was catching yesterday. I think he also caught, Saturday night as well. So, yeah, you just got to rest those legs. But, yeah, I think this lineup is going to do it today. But Mike Burrows is on the mound for the Astros. Who? That's a made-up name. That's a made-up player. That's AI is what that is.
AI. What's next?
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 3, as of Monday morning, every American League team is within 3 games of each other, and the Minnesota Twins have the best record at only 9-7. What's the real headline?
Season's over.
Yeah, there's no way any of these teams can be
Just
caught.
give the AL to the Twins right now.
The Twins are going to probably finish with the worst record in the American League.
This is why I know that people feel like it's I've seen the comments everywhere about whether we have a guest on or whether we say it, that mentioning the WBC or mentioning that it's April or any of those things is just excuse making. And I think there's a difference between excuse making would be like saying, oh, well, if they are horrible, oh, well, it was a quick turnaround. It was a 4-game series and, you're really tired. Like, that's things that don't really make sense. Adding context is saying, weird offseason for some of these guys. Look, they need to get right.
Yeah.
They need to heat up here if they want to win a World Series and not just, barely get in by the skin of their teeth to the playoffs. But this is kind of a reminder of why it's early and why those bits of context are important.
We haven't even reached the exact midway point of April. And so April is often considered the first month of the season, even though now baseball starts now the baseball starts a couple days late in March. But yeah, I mean, we are halfway through the first, 6th of the season. We're 1/12th. Am I doing my math correctly right there? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you, Curtis. I copied my homework from my friend Amy. I have a question for you. They asked me, but I'm going to ask you. They said, should the Mariners use Ref Snyder more in the lineup over Canzone?
Not against Ref Snyder has gone 0 against lefties, but that's what he was brought here for, was to mash lefties. I don't know. Maybe change it up. See Ref Snyder against a righty. But I do think Canzone brings more power than Ref Snyder does. You got to figure something out with Ref Snyder because you're paying him quite a bit to be a bench player. I think it's like $6 million.
And Jerry DiPoto, when we asked him on opening day, hey, who's an underrated player or a player that people had great things to say. So I think we're all just kind of waiting to see that version.
Yeah. He did make that great catch in the Texas series.
He did.
But
Rob Snyder, starring in many.
Rob Snyder. Robbed Ref Snyder.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumps today. Transitioning to talking about some Seahawks in the draft with the Athletic NFL draft analyst Dane Brugler next.
You can stream every pitch of every inning of every game all season long. Oh, and it's completely free.
It's a tremendous catch.
Only on the Seattle Sports app. That's right. The free Seattle Sports app puts every single Mariners game right in the palm of your hand.
On a platter, come and get it.
One app, every game. Plus the latest Mariners news, insider access, video, and podcast.
Holy smokes, what a play.
Pretty awesome, right? Just like the Mariners.
Stacey here, and I need to tell you guys about what I did last week. On Friday, I got to demo the Arc Sport from Arc. It's a fully electric boat that's built to be a wake boat. Carter from the demo team at Arc picked me up right on Lake Union, which was very cool. I felt like a celebrity. The first thing I noticed was just how sleek it looked. I felt like I was in a luxury EV, but on the water. Fully heated seats, a touchscreen dash. They were my favorite features because I'm always cold and love a touchscreen. But something tells me that people who actually do spend a lot of time on the water are going to love things like the retractable tower and, of course, Arc software. But you know what else I noticed? We were the only ones on the water. It was a beautiful Friday, but it's early April. And that means most people have their boats winterized, not Arc. No winterization, oil changes, or transmission service means significantly less maintenance. So you can actually take advantage of an unexpectedly sunny day like I did. You really have to see and experience this boat for yourself, though. So do it. Book a demo. It's easy. They'll pick you up on Lake Washington, Lake Union, or Lake Sammamish if you can't come to them in Kirkland. Go to arcboats.com/demo. Fill out the form and you'll be out on the water. Arc, you have to see it to believe it.
Do you need a new roof? Then trust your neighbors at 3 Tree Roofing to get you taken care of this spring. Schedule your free estimate at 3treeroofing.com and secure $500 off your roof replacement. Right now, you can still take advantage of spring pricing and beat the summer rush. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Olympic Hot Tub's Sweet Spring Savings event is here. Now through April 14th, thanks to incredible factory discounts, you can save up to $16,500 on an amazing endless pool swim spa. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Hi, Andy Klein here. There's something special about a baseball game. The moments and the memories. At Klein Jewelers, that's exactly how we feel about our diamonds. They're a beautiful reminder of life's biggest moments. We're here to help you find the perfect diamond or beautiful piece of jewelry to celebrate your engagement, anniversary, birthday, promotion, or just because. Klein Jewelers by the Fountain in downtown Edmonds. Shine with Klein.
Mariners and Astros today at T-Mobile. First pitch at 1:10, pregame at noon. Hear every pitch live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
Home is more than a place to live. It's where the best of life unfolds, where possibility sparks, where community grows, where lives take shape. At the Master Builders Association of King and Snohomish Counties, that belief drives the work our builders, remodelers, and tradespeople do every day. Because when we build more homes, we're building so much more than housing. We're making room for what matters most. Learn more at roomforwhatmatters.com.
When you jump on the back of a bull and the gate swings, there's no middle ground. You either ride it out with 8 seconds of pure adrenaline or hit the dirt and run. Bull riding is not just a sport, it's a gamble of guts and glory. Nothing else compares. This is the PBR Unleash the Beast Tour. See the best bull riders in the world face off at Cooper Tire's PBR Tacoma at Tacoma Dome April 24th and 25th. Ready to be cowboy? Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. It's bull time.
Well, spring is all about getting ready for summer, isn't it? But do you have a room just sitting empty and you've dreamt of making it your own home gym? Hey, Brock Heward here, and working out in your own home, well, it is the best. We've been doing so for years, and you can allow Top Fitness to create your own home gym. Simply give them your room dimensions, and they'll do the rest. A complete fitness room design. It's no secret why everyone, from personal trainers to pro athletes, love Top Fitness. Top Fitness represents the very best brands in fitness, like Precor, Inspire Fitness, along with many others. They also have everything from flooring to weights that go in a home gym. And right now, get spring special financing with 0% interest for 12 months, plus mention me and receive an $150 credit towards any purchase over $1,000. Spring is here to get you in the best shape, so go get into Top Fitness with locations in Tukwila, Linwood, and Bellevue, or simply visit topfitness.com for more info. That's Top Fitness, your best place for home fitness equipment.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. I know we've been talking Mariners, but we got to dive into the draft here with the Athletics NFL draft analyst Dane Brugler joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Dane, how's it going?
It's going well. We're almost a week away, so
oh god,
we're close. It's creeping up on us.
It's very, very weird. And the Seahawks are in kind of a funky place, Dane. The last couple years, I guess having number 5 overall was a bit different, but the last couple years, we've been looking at a mid to kind of like upper half draft pick, and it's been really fun to preview, going like, you'd love to win a Super Bowl, but like, man, we're talking about a Seahawks team, and we actually know some names who might be taken here. How exciting. And this year, it's a bit different. Look, I'll take a Super Bowl win every single season, but picking at 32 is a tough spot for a GM that we've seen trade back. So I'll start with kind of a simple question, and I understand if you're like, I don't expect the Seahawks to stick there, but if they do stick at 32, is there a player that you do like for Seattle there? I'll start with a simple one.
Yeah, well, to your point, I think it makes a ton of sense for them to move back if the opportunity is there. Only entering the draft with 4 picks is something that I expect to change. Somehow, some way, they'll figure out a way to get an extra pick or two. It might be trading back at 32, a team looking to get back into the first round for that extra 5th-year option. But yeah, it's something that I think will be a priority for this organization. But if they're stuck at 32 and there's the opportunity isn't there, I think they will have options, whether they want to go corner like a Colton Hood from Tennessee. I think that would make sense. Chris Johnson from San Diego State was one of my favorite players in the draft. We don't usually get the group of 5 guys anymore in the first round just because we see those guys transfer. But some of the guys that stay loyal to the coaching staff that recruited them, developed them. The NFL teams are still have eyes on them, and Chris Johnson's one of them. 6 foot, 4.40 speed. Fits all 32 teams because he can play man, can play zone, can play off. There's just a lot to like about his football intelligence and his coverability. If the Seahawks want to go edge rusher, I think that makes sense as well at that point in the draft because of who will be available. It's a very deep edge rusher group. We're going to see a couple of those guys go early, but also the back end of the first, early part of the second. That's where T.J. Parker from Clemson will come off the board, Malachi Lawrence, UCF, Zion Young, Missouri. So if the Seahawks end up going corner or edge rusher, there will be more than a few options for them at 32.
Dane, one of their biggest needs is running back, and it's always a tricky position to, draft. And Seahawks to pick 32 may be considered a reach for the guys who are not Jeremiah Love. So when you look at this running back class, where do you think is the best value for the Seahawks in order to fill out that position?
Yeah, and they're obviously in a tough spot when you only have 4 picks. And, okay, do we like you were alluding to, it's a light running back class. And so do we pull the trigger there at 32, or do we wait and see who's maybe there for us at the end of the second round? Okay, well, if we get shut out of those options, do we wait to the end of the third round, or are we going to be out of luck there? And so seeing if they're able to move around and trade around a little bit, I think that'll help maybe clear that picture. But Jadarian Price is a really good player. I mean, we've never seen running backs from the same 2 programs go 1-2 in a draft ever before. We've seen them go, both go high. Sonny Michel and Nick Chubb come to mind. Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown from Auburn. So we've seen it before, but never 1-2. Good chance that happens this year. Jadarian Price, like I said, will be a starter in most other offenses. A guy that maybe not the proven workhorse, but you see the talent with, the burst at the line, the ability to read, string together moves, and then create at the second level. I mean, he did that consistently. Also brings you special teams experience as well, kick return, a couple of kick return touchdowns. But if they wait until day 2, I think Mike Washington from Arkansas makes a lot of sense for where the Seahawks are picking. And if they end up having to wait until day 3, there are a few options they could go, whether that's one of the 2 Penn State guys, Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton. But it will be interesting to see how they maneuver that and what extra picks they look to pick up in order to address that running back need.
Maybe it's because Seattle has significantly more picks next year, so there's a little bit of bias here. But I keep hearing from people who know more than me, this year's draft is fine, but next year's is really where it's at. Is that unfair to this year's class? Is that something I'm just hearing because people are trying to convince themselves? How would you kind of, describe this year?
Well, teams advance scout every year, especially at quarterback, right? And that's something where, teams are looking. I was surprised at the combine, just talking with teams, how many times I heard 2027 quarterback class, just organically, it would come up. So it's definitely something that's being talked about with teams. But, I would say that while quarterback and running back are very light classes, edge rusher is really deep. Wide receiver is in another really deep position. There's a lot of good corners in this draft. Tight end is loaded. Unbelievable how many. I have more draftable tight ends in this class than will actually get drafted. So there will be really good players that are available later on, and even as PFAs. Safety, it's a really good group. So I think you have to kind of look at it by position. And some groups are deeper than others. Some, like offensive tackle is deep in the first round. We're going to see 6-7 tackles go in the first round, and then we might not have a single one go in the second round. So some positions, it's a little bit of a roller coaster. So while I think we tend to, describe draft classes based off of the quarterbacks, that would paint maybe a negative light on this draft class. But when you look at some of those other positions, that's where, okay, maybe this draft isn't as light as we think when we just look at those quarterbacks.
Dane, recently the Seahawks have really done a good job of just drafting for, I think, obviously when you had a class of Devin Witherspoon and JSN, those were the 2 best players available at that point. But recently, Byron Murphy, Gray Zabel, those were 2 big positions of need. Do you think the Seahawks will draft more for need right now, especially considering all that they lost in free agency, or do you think that they will tend to go maybe best player available in this year's draft?
Yeah, I think traditionally they've done a nice job of blending both, where they're not going to force the issue if the right player is not there. But at the same time, they're focused on, all right, what makes us better, not only in 2026 or, the next season, but the next few seasons. And I think when you look at this year's class and, just looking where they're slated to pick currently right now, they're going to look at every opportunity to move around. But if they're stuck at those spots, and it's also one of the tough parts about picking so late in the round is you just don't know how those first 31 picks are going to come off the board. And what is your board? You know what your board looks like before the draft starts. But then when after 31 picks, is it a bloodbath and all your options are just kind of wiped out? What is that going to look like? And so, the Seahawks are in a spot where they can kind of sit back, wait, see who falls to them. They have enough needs, whether that's, I think they'd like to upgrade at one of the guard spots. I think they'd like to upgrade corner. The edge rush group was such a big part of what made this a Super Bowl team that they want to, kind of refresh that group and add another young part to what they're doing. Obviously, we talked about running back. So I think that it can be, a little bit difficult to choose, all right, which direction do we go first? But that's where you let the board fall to you, and that you trust your board and see, all right, in terms of impact potential, this is who we would draft here in the first round that's going to make the biggest impact for us, whether that's a running back whether it's a guard, whether it's a defensive player. And so just letting the board fall to them, that's something where, I mean, a veteran general manager, he's been through this a lot of times. He has a good feel for that.
We've talked, you mentioned liking corner for Seattle if they do stick at 32, which I don't know that any of us are thinking they will, but just kind of a hypothetical. And then you said, hey, another fit could be a couple edge rushers there. Dane, we haven't talked a ton about those guys. Would you mind telling us a bit about Malachi Lawrence and maybe another guy that kind of fits there, kind of end of first, top second?
Yeah, and Malachi Lawrence from UCF, who is one of the more explosive pass rushers in this draft. Not super bendy, but in terms of his ability to get off the ball and then close on the quarterback, it's pretty impressive. 6'4.5", 253 pounds, had a 40-inch vert at the combine, one of the best 10-yard splits, which really obviously gauges that burst off the ball. But he is someone that you kind of feel him on film because of the ability to affect the backfield action. That's someone that offenses have to game plan for. So he's good enough against the run, but why you're drafting him is that ability to get after the quarterback. And so you kind of work him into the rotation. I think that makes a lot of sense for this team. And TJ Parker from Clemson, I think, would be on the short list. 6'3.5", 265 pounds, wins more with, power, not a ton of deception, but the motor just doesn't quit. He just keeps coming at you. And I think he's someone that, just thinking back to watching the South Carolina tape, he had a fumble recovery that was 30 yards down the field from where he started. Like he is always going and always trying to make a play through the whistle. And, I think that's someone that, the Seahawks would be interested at that point. But it's a deep edge rush group. So even if they wait till the second round, third round, there's going to be some interesting options available for them and a chance to kind of replenish that edge position on the depth chart.
Now, Dane, my co-host and I, Stacy, we often find ourselves hosting on day 3 of the draft, which is really tough because a lot of guys get
a lot of Googling.
And I must say, your draft guide is so essential to what we do on day 3.
We thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, because it's 629 pages this year. Like, people who have not downloaded this, like, you're in for a treat. I want to know from you, what is your favorite anecdote or two that you learned about some guys in this year's class that you were just like, wow, I've never known anybody to do that?
Yeah, that's really my favorite part of doing this draft guide is all these guys are on the NFL's doorstep at the same time, but they all took different journeys, and they all, there's different things in their backgrounds, whether overcoming adversities or, some guys started playing in the, football in the crib while others were, seniors in high school. Like they're all so unique, and that makes it fun. Haynes King, he's a quarterback from Georgia Tech. He'll be a day 3 pick. As a kid, he's one of the toughest players in this draft. You spend 5 minutes watching his tape, and you just understand how tough he is. He hurt his arm as a kid. He was a lefty, grew up as a lefty. And, instead of waiting and letting his arm heal and then coming back, he taught himself how to throw righty. And to this day, he's a right-handed quarterback. I don't think I've ever heard that before. There's a corner in this draft from Nebraska who is also a part-time actor. He actually played LeBron James' son in the new Space Jam movie. His name is Sierra Wright. He has a chance to be a late-round pick. And I think one of my favorites, Louisville receiver Chris Bell, he didn't make the football team as a freshman in high school, but he wanted to be around the team so badly that he joined the band. He had no idea how to play an instrument. He just, put the instrument up to his lips, didn't blow or anything. But it allowed him to go to the games, both home and away. And that was his chance to be around the program before he kind of blew up as a player himself. And so it's always fun learning about these little tidbits for each player.
I love the idea of like, hey, that guy playing clarinet, can you block? Yeah, get him out here. What a guy. Hey, one thing I was going to ask you, and maybe this is also how it's shaped your own like rankings and stuff for certain guys. I was going to ask before we had you on, kind of written down, hey, what do you like about what John Schneider does? And I think instead what I'll say, Dane, is when you're putting together all of your research, is there any way that you've adapted your own grading system based on what you've learned GMs over the years value a little bit more?
Well, I think the most important part of being an evaluator is being a self-evaluator and understanding, okay, because, I mean, we all miss on these guys. You know, I feel good about my batting average, but we all have our misses. And so understanding, okay, well, it's not just you missed on a guy, it's why you missed. And the NFL is a constantly evolving league, both schematically, in terms of roster construction. And so if you're not keeping up to date each maybe not right now when the draft's in a week, but like as soon as the dust settles, you kind of go back and take a look and an inventory of, all right, what did we get wrong? What did we miss? And just to get a better understanding of what the league is drafting for. I mean, I think that's an important part of what I do. And so there's no doubt. I mean, this league has evolved. I've been doing this for 20 years and it's evolved a lot over the years. And it's something that if you don't keep on top of that, whether you're in the league working for a team or you're on the outside looking in, like us, like if you're not keeping on top of just the constant evolution, I think you're missing the boat. And so, yeah, it's definitely something that you try to keep on top of.
Dane, last one from me. We've talked to a few draft experts over the last few months, and a lot of them have tons of high praise for Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. The Seahawks probably don't have the draft capital needed to move up that far to get him. But when you mentioned you've spent 20 years doing this, over the last 2 decades, where does he rank among best running back prospects you've seen?
He's pretty high up there. I think in recent years, I have a higher grade on him than Genty last year. I think he's in the category of what Bijan Robinson was coming out of Texas 3 years ago. A guy that within the rookie contract, he would be considered a top 5 player at his position. And I think Jeremiah Love has that type of ability where, before he gets that second contract, we could be talking about him as not just, fantasy football wise, but just one of the best players, best running backs that this league has to offer. And it's going to make some tough decisions for, I think, the Titans at 4, the Giants at 5, Commanders at 7. I think ideally you're not drafting a running back that high, but Love's just not any old running back. And so I think those 3 teams especially are going to have a tough decision to make. And then if he gets past those 3 teams, which I'd be surprised, but if he does, then all of a sudden, if you're Seattle, I think you need to at least explore, okay, what would it take and would it be worth it? Because, man, dropping a talent like that into your roster would sure be a lot of fun.
The 2026 NFL Draft Guide is now available from Dane, the Beast 2026. You can go download it, The Athletic, NewYorkTimes.com. He is Dane Brugler. Thanks so much, Dane.
Anytime. Take care, guys.
All right. Kind of things standing out from us and what we learned a little bit about this one, Curtis.
Well,
I think.
Yeah, I love the stories that he told.
That was going to be my favorite thing is who was it that he said learned? Chris Bell, who tried to be on a band to be closer to
the football team in high school because he got cut from the freshman team.
And then they were like, yo, this guy can't play an instrument.
Yeah. But he can catch a football.
But he can catch a ball.
He's got hands. Yeah, that was a wild story. People don't quite grasp the lengths of descriptions that Dane Brugler has for each prospect.
It's intense.
629 pages. He has he has punters ranked 1 through 50 in this. Okay,
let's actually bring Dane back and be like, this is an intervention.
He has 5 paragraphs on every single prospect eligible. It's ridiculous the amount of information that is available to us in this thing every single year. So, but I think it's interesting how he was really hammering home that the Seahawks need to take a corner and pick 32 if they stick at 32. And I agree. I think that is a really good – if they're able to get a cornerback in round 1 and then or with their first pick, I should say, and then maybe find a way to get one of the top running backs in the draft with their second pick, to me that would be the ideal first couple rounds for them because you're filling the gap left by Reek Woolen, adding depth to that position because you've got good pieces already in Witherspoon and Josh Jobe, but to add another young player who is going to be on a rookie contract who could potentially have the ability to start at some point, that's going to be great. And then addressing the biggest need on the team as far as I'm concerned in running back,
easy.
You got to do that.
I really liked Dane's point, I asked him, hey, maybe because the Seahawks have significantly more picks in 2027, what we keep hearing is like, oh, this class isn't actually that great. This is kind of like a, get a couple guys, but who cares class. You really want to focus on 2027. And I think that that's something, this is what Dane said. Like, yeah, that's something you hear when like the quarterback class isn't great, but like there are some great tight ends. There's some great cornerbacks. Like, there are some great defensive players in this class. Yeah, and so, like, if you want to look at it and go, yeah, Ty Simpson is QB2, doesn't move me, that's fine. But you can absolutely find some difference makers here. And we keep hearing from people, I know Dane mentioned some tight ends and a couple other guys, but we keep hearing from guys like there are some great defensive pieces. For a defense that was number 1 in DVOA last season, Curtis, I think that's great news, actually, to continue to bulk up that side of the ball.
I think so. And that was the side of the ball where you experienced the most losses in free agency. Because you look at the offense, really the only guy that's gone is Ken Walker. Everybody else is pretty much back. Same starting 5 on the offensive line. In fact, every offensive lineman that ended the season with the Seahawks is still there. They have not subtracted at all from that position group. Your wide receivers are basically the same as what they were to end the season a year ago. Your tight ends are pretty much the same. So the offense having that continuity, I think, is great. And really the only piece you need to add on that side of the ball, I think, is running back. Whereas on the defense, you can never have enough edge rushers. You can never have enough good corners. You can never have enough guys in your secondary. Linebacker, I mean, sure, add a body there if you need to. But I think the amount of holes that need to be addressed on the defensive side of the ball, I think outweigh the holes that need to be addressed on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely agree. I don't know. How do you feel in general? I think that when we have draft experts on, it's kind of boring to say, do you think the Seahawks will trade back? And all of us go, yeah, we'll see when they pick. It's much more interesting to say, if they stay at 32, who do you like? Because we actually get to talk about real names. All that being said, how do you feel about the Seahawks sticking at 32? They just have 4 picks. Your single best bet to add more is to trade back from 32. Last time they had it 32, John Schneider traded back twice and turned that pick into 3 additional picks.
Yeah, I unfortunately am getting flashbacks to the 2021 draft when they had 3 picks, and we all kind of assumed they were going to trade back from their pick in the second round to go get somebody else. They didn't. They stuck there, drafted D. Eskridge, and I mean, D. Eskridge, Trey Brown, Stone Forsythe, not a great draft.
Kind of a weird draft, though, because there was so little information on these guys.
Yeah, you were
COVID
still in the middle of COVID. Yeah. But I think that the Seahawks have really flipped a switch in how they approach the draft. It's not as many risks being taken over the last few years. Like, they're getting, these capital D dudes over, the last 3 drafts, because it was 22 was the JSN draft. Or no, 22 was Charles Cross.
23
was JSN and Denver Witherspoon. 24 was Byron Murphy, and then last year was Gray Zabel. Like, you've hit on, 5 first-round picks in a row here. So if they continue that trend and pick in the first round, I do have confidence that they will find somebody that will at least probably develop into a starter. I don't know what kind of difference maker you can find at 32, especially in a draft where a lot of people have first-round grades on maybe like 13 or 14 guys. But I think the Seahawks have more than earned the benefit of the doubt over their last about half decade of drafting.
One big difference maker from this past year selected at 35.
Nick Murray, yeah.
So, granted, it was with like a less valuable pick.
And the defensive rookie of the year was picked at 34?
Yeah, 2 ahead. First pick of the second round.
Yeah.
33. But I'm so intrigued. It's a slightly different flavor to this draft this year, right? You're coming off a Super Bowl win. Now it's about how you stay there and about how you add to a team. You got 4 picks, and Dane's guide, I'm glad you mentioned it. Dane's guide is perfect for maybe especially this draft when Seahawks fans are going to have to do some digging, because you're not talking about a guy at 16 overall and Byron Murphy, who you'd heard about. you're talking about who's he going to take at 49? Who's he going to take at 65? I better go in and look here. So Dane's guide available, New York Times or The Athletic. Free with a subscription. So definitely go check it out. You can download the entire PDF, and it's interactive, so you can organize it by grade, by position, all kinds of things. We got a text in from a listener who says, will you guys shout out my son Bear? It's our annual skip school Mariners game with Dad. Shout out Bear. Shout out Dad.
An extended spring break. Because last week was spring break.
Love it.
Here.
Hopefully you guys are out watching a Mariners win today, a mop
over
the Astros. And Curtis is pretty confident.
No other possibility.
I hope you guys have fun out here. Speaking of the Mariners, back to the M's with Seattle Times' Ryan Divish next.
After reaching the NFL's mountaintop,
the Seahawks win Super Bowl 60.
The work continues for the Seahawks to keep the foundation strong. It's the 2026 NFL Draft, Thursday, April 23rd. Only Seattle Sports begins its first-round draft coverage with a reigning NFL Executive of the Year.
You know who are the real Seahawks?
The John Schneider Show at 4 p.m. with Brock Hughes, Michael Bumpus, Steve Wyman, and host Bob Stelton live until 9 p.m. on Seattle Sports.
Justin's an avid skier, and a hard fall on the mountain changed everything.
I wound up tearing my meniscus, and then I found out that I also had osteoarthritis.
The pain was relentless.
Initially, it was probably a 7 or 8, but then it just continued and never went away.
It wasn't just pain, it was how he moved.
The biggest issue I had was simply walking. I could not walk without limping.
Others might have looked into surgery, but Justin chose stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. How's it now?
I'm back to skiing as hard as I can, and I don't even notice my knee anymore.
And the recovery?
Well, the biggest thing is I was walking without a limp within weeks, where I had been limping for the last year or so. Now I just feel totally normal. I feel like I can do anything that I ever did.
Before you choose surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first, the most experienced in the Northwest with over 20,000 stem cell procedures. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/play. That's ethos.com/play. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Annie's first oil change wasn't as hard as she thought because she went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped her find the right oil and save on an oil filter. He explained the job and showed her free how-tos on AutoZone.com. When she was done, AutoZone recycled her old oil for free. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Help DEA keep our communities safe and healthy by participating in National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 25th. Take action right in your own home by cleaning out your medicine cabinet of unneeded medications. Keep them safe, clean them out, take them back. Find a collection site near you at deatakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent prescription drug misuse before it starts. That's deatakeback.com.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we perform an 18-point maintenance check with every oil change to help make sure you're good to go.
And?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Huh. Wonder why the dealership isn't that easy.
Well, we'd let you know if we found something in our check.
Oh, great. That was easy.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Quick, thorough, and honest. Come with no charge.
Hey, baseball fans, Rick Riz here. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friend Keith Dashafy, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Keith?
Thanks, Rick. Improve your play with 25% off windows and doors or 12 months, no payments, and no interest. And we're giving back with 2 $5,000 scholarships for our local youth sports teams. Upgrade your home at PellaPNW.com.
That's fantastic, Keith. Don't wait. Schedule your free appointment today at PellaPNW.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners wrap up a series against the Astros with a matinee finale today. George Kirby on the mound. First pitch is at 1:10 p.m. Pregame show starts at noon right here on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Seattle Times' Ryan Divish joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Ryan, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Just a weird wraparound series.
Yeah.
Wrapping up.
Very weird having a matinee on a Monday. I will say a weird series, but so far a good one for Seattle, taking 3 in a row, and they badly needed it. I know Houston's pitching isn't great, but what have you seen from Seattle's offense that does feel really encouraging?
Well, they recognize that Houston's pitching is awful, and they decided, you know what, it would be smarter not to swing so much and wait them out, let them walk you guys, get some base runners, and then find a way to get big hits. I mean, they haven't got as many hits maybe as they should have. Given, I think Houston's walked like 26 guys and hit like 5. You probably should have scored 10 runs every game. But it's still better to see them sticking to an approach that was more along the lines of what they are supposed to do. That's what they wanted to do is kind of have that more patient approach, see more pitches, and then when they get opportunities to really hit fastballs, and they've started to do that. And I think that's something that you build on ahead. Obviously, when they go to San Diego, they won't see this sort of pitching, but at the same time, it's more sustainable to be a little more selective at the plate than getting up there and swinging at pitches that are not even close to the strike zone.
Ryan, Mariners obviously benefiting from playing a wounded team here this weekend, but there has been some really good signs over the last 3 games. What to you has been maybe the most encouraging thing you've seen from anybody on this roster?
I think, obviously Julio getting on base, getting some hits, getting the homer. Even yesterday where, gets a couple singles through the left side, steals a base, is active on the bases. I think that's important. I think, when he is going right and he's active and he's finding ways to get on base, he creates a lot of opportunities. Cal has struck out a little bit more than I think he would prefer, but even then, you're seeing the power. You're seeing him hit some balls hard in the air. I think that's important. And then also just, you're seeing the lineup solidified. I mean, you think about it, they really haven't had a ton of games where they've been able to make their A lineup out against righties and their A lineup out against lefties because of injuries, whether it's Brendan Donovan dealing with a couple little things or Victor Robles going down with the strained pec. They haven't really put their full lineup out there that they really want to do and how they plan to play. And so we're starting to see that more. And I think we're seeing too, when they're able to put that lineup out against a right-handed starter, and you've got Luke Raley in right field, and you've got Dom Canzone as the DH, you have a lot of options, and you can really do some damage 1 through 9.
Josh Naylor's still pretty cold to start the season. What have you seen from him?
It's funny. It's like you don't even think about it. It's like when he wasn't hitting, obviously when him and Julio and Cal weren't hitting in Texas, it was kind of a big deal. But Julio starts to hit, Cal starts to hit, Randy's doing his thing. Then all of a sudden you kind of forget that Naylor really isn't doing a whole lot at the plate. We've seen him kind of swing too much, I think, more than anything. This is a guy that I think in the past had averaged, almost 5 pitches per plate appearance, and we're seeing him swing early, swing often. I think part of it, too, is, it's not just that you're chasing your numbers and you look at your batting average, it's in the 0.8 something or whatever. It's more like, hey, everybody else is hitting. I want to hit, too. Like, this looks fun to get on base and hit. But I'll say this, he has made plays in the field. He has been still the same type of guy. Haven't seen him pout or anything like that. I haven't seen him blow up about not getting hits. And I think that's important. I think we've seen a little bit better contact from him of late. It's so crazy. I was talking with Adam Jude about this. What happens, if Joe Adele doesn't have the miracle and Luke Raley has that one game where he misses first base? They probably tie the game and possibly win it. So then all of a sudden they go 3-3 on that road trip. People wouldn't be freaking out quite as much. Naylor would have had a homer. Cal would have had a homer. JP would have had a homer. And then you're rolling from there. So some of it is the timing of when things happen, just like playing the Astros now when other pitchers can seem to get out of the first inning.
Well, yeah, and you bring up how those 2 games might have swung the Mariners' way. You look at how tight the American League is right now. You win those 2 games, you have the best record in the American League. So it's not like the Mariners are super far off, too. Yesterday, Ryan, Logan Gilbert, with his best start in a long time, 7 innings, only the 1 run allowed. His strikeout numbers are back to where they've kind of been throughout the rest of his career. Last year saw a really big uptick in that, averaging more than 2 strikeouts per 9 inning, more than any other year he's had. But this year back down to about 9.5. Is that on purpose in order to get deeper into ball games, or is that just kind of a byproduct of how he's been pitching?
I think yesterday was on purpose. We wrote about it a little bit that they had a meeting this week to kind of just, it was him and Cal and Pete Woodworth just kind of going over some things and kind of resetting the thinking or reestablishing the thinking, which is, it's not bad to get some contact early in counts, and it's not bad to have them swinging in counts. And the strikeouts are great, but strikeouts on 8 or 9 pitches come with a cost, especially when there's no runners on base. Attacking early, getting ahead early, and if they make some contact, trust your defense. It's not the whole, we're not, asking him to go Greg Maddux or anything like that, but just better pitch efficiency in the zone. I mean, I think I heard Pete Woodworth say one time, it's a race to 2 strikes. As fast as you can get to 2 strikes and then go for the kill as quickly as possible. What we saw last year from Logan a lot of times is it would take 3 or 4 pitches to get to 2 strikes. Then I would throw a couple splitters out of zone. They wouldn't chase. Then he'd come back with it again, and then they would chase, and you get the strikeout. But that's why we were seeing him only go 5 innings, because the pitch count just multiplied too quickly. And I think there was a frustration level for Logan. He wants to be that guy that goes 7 innings every time. And we saw kind of the methodology about how to do it. Now, you can't do it that way against every team, and some teams you have to be a little bit more careful. But, I thought yesterday, too, like the inning where Altuve's on second, Logan's up there, he walks Alvarez on 4 pitches and knows, hey, look, I can get a ground ball against somebody else and get a double play or get out of the inning. And I think that was smart. So I think we're seeing him just attack hitters with a little bit more aggressiveness than maybe we've seen in the past. I think that's a good thing.
I am glad that you mentioned that. I read that last night from one of your guys' recaps about Logan kind of being unafraid to lean into contact. And I made a mental note to ask you if there was someone else on this team that came to mind where, they talked about wanting to work on a specific thing this season that maybe we haven't talked about it a ton yet, but you are yourself kind of watching for it in these games.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those guys are like that. They all have a checklist, and so often we think it's just a new pitch that they're working on, but really sometimes it's the mentality. It's like Brian Wu wanted to be better and like not have that 1 inning where maybe he loses focus and allows some base runners that could cause him not to get to 7. We saw that early this year, and he was really hard on himself about it. George Kirby taking ownership of his outings, carrying the pitch comm, understanding this is my responsibility as much as anyone. I throw the pitches. So if I'm going to throw the pitches, I'm going to have maximum belief in a lot of them and have some control over it. I talked to Cal about that, and George has been more active and studying scouting reports and doing prep work than maybe he had before, instead of just always relying on what Cal thought. And I think that's important too. Those sort of things are really important for pitchers. It's not always just finding a better pitch, but it's finding a better mentality or finding a better plan or sequencing of those pitches that you have to be more effective. And I think that's what we saw with Wu, last year, where he wanted to be better against lefties. He found a better plan to attack him, and that's one of the reasons why he had so much success last year. Now he wants to be even better. He wants to be more focused for the times out there, no mental lapses, and we're seeing that too as well when he really gets going.
Hey, Ryan, on opening day, we heard from Jerry DePoto say that Bryce Miller's ETA was late April, but if he's going to hit that late April return, he would probably have to go out on a rehab assignment really soon, as we're near the midpoint of the month. Have you heard anything on Miller's progress from that oblique injury?
No, not specifically, and we haven't gotten an update from Justin Hollander lately, so maybe we're about due for that. Until he might have thrown, they do have extended spring training games down in Arizona, so he could throw in some of those. But, until he throws and is built up to 85 pitches, they're not going to consider bringing him back. And so I think that's something that's important that, and because Emerson Hancock is pitching so well, they don't need to rush that. If they say, if Bryce doesn't feel great coming out of a start, okay, take a couple extra days, but we're going to do this right so that, when you come back, you're ready to go. And then, they'll have a hard decision to make when that happens.
The Astros hit with another injury in this one, with Bolton leaving the game with some, back tightness, Pena leaving the game the day before. I think one thing that I try to remind listeners, and I'm asking you because maybe I'm wrong, one thing I try to remind listeners when we're talking about where the Mariners are in the West is, in addition to it being incredibly early in the season, the division isn't loaded. I mean, these are teams that could theoretically be pretty shallow. If you look at the Astros roster, if they're dealt a couple injuries, they're in big trouble. Do you see the Mariners as being best able to pull away here, or is that the wrong read on the AL West?
No, I think that's the right read. I think one of the reasons I picked the Mariners to have as much success as they were is because I thought the division was pretty weak. All the teams are kind of obviously flawed in some way. You look at the Astros, it's their pitching staff. I mean, even before these injuries, Javier was out, Ronald Blanco was out, Hunter Brown was out, and they weren't very deep beyond that. And, their lineup isn't the same. I mean, Altuve looks his age. I mean, he played a little bit better yesterday, but they really only have 2 or 3 hitters you truly, truly fear. It's not like the old days when they'd have Springer and all these guys rolling out. The Angels are just awful. I still don't know how the Mariners lost 2 out of 3 to them.
Same.
Texas has got some flaws. They don't. Seager's good, but they don't have some of the premium bats in the order. They don't score a ton of runs, and they're still trusting Jacob deGrom to throw a lot of innings, and some of the other guys, Kumar Rocker, some of the other starters. I think once you get past the first 3 guys, and even Evaldi last year had some issues. So. The injury bug is always a risk with their pitching staff. I mean, the A's can really, really hit. A's can't pitch. And that park just does them no favors. So I look at the division, and I think that, the Mariners can really start building up and getting going. They can pull away early, and that doesn't mean they're going to run away with it forever, but I do think that they can build some ground in the division. Honestly, I think, and talking with some people with the Astros, the Astros stay on this path, they're gonna dump players at the deadline. They're gonna be sellers and try and rebuild a little bit, because you look at it, I mean, they just can't. The guys they're bringing out to start games are barely replacement level pitchers, and a lot of organizations deal with that. You lose 3 starters. The Mariners lost 3 starters at one point last year, but the quality of pitchers they were bringing up was a little bit better. They don't have that. The Astros don't have that sort of system, and so we're seeing the Cody Boltons of the world, who's a reliever, having to start games. And I don't even, the guy they're starting today, I'd never even heard of until yesterday when they announced it.
Ryan, Luis Castillo has had kind of a weird start to the season. First start, 6 shutout innings against a lineup like the Yankees. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But then Angels doesn't get out of the 4th inning. Same thing again against the Astros. What have you made of his last couple of starts?
Well, I think against the Angels, his defense didn't do him a lot of favors. I think they had at least 1 or 2 errors in that game. Rivas had one, I know. And then, Randy misplayed a ball that wasn't an error but didn't get a good jump on it. So the defense of the Mariners has been a little shaky, and I hope he could hurt Castillo in that game. Now, he wasn't real efficient, but his outing could have been much better if they make some plays behind him. I thought the most recent outing, he just couldn't throw a slider for a strike. It just was all over the place. And when he did throw it for a strike, it was right down the middle. So that's something you can correct midweek, check the release points, check his arm slot. But I still think it's encouraging that he's throwing 96, 97 at times and able to kind of establish the fastball. He may have to use his changeup more than maybe he had in the past. But I think with Castillo, you see this every so often. Like last year, he was pretty solid. And then there was that stretch in August where he got a little out of whack with his mechanics, and it got a little ugly. But I think, he's good enough that he'll kind of make some corrections and be a viable pitcher for him. And if not, then, maybe that time where they make that hard decision, Bryce Miller is ready to go. I think it's a good problem to have Bryce Miller if he's getting healthy, or even, down the road, Cade Anderson and Ryan Sloan, to have those guys available in AAA. And at some point we're going to see Jonathan Diaz in a 64-mile-per-hour breaking ball start a game. It just wouldn't be a season without Jonathan Diaz starting a game or Casey Lawrence getting called up for one appearance and then getting DFA'd and going back to the Mariners. That's part of the baseball season, like the All-Star game.
Last one here for us. You mentioned that shaky defense that Castillo had, and we've seen some of that shakiness to start the season. Is that a shaky defense that you expected for this team, or is it a bit of a surprise?
No, I didn't think it was. I'm not stunned by it. Randy's not a good defensive outfielder. He's not. He's never been a good defensive outfielder. Do I think, and sometimes he makes some mistakes that they're costly. Sometimes he makes some really good plays, but there's not a lot of consistency there in that. They're not necessarily errors, but what, I've heard scouts call them, I think Dan's called them winning plays that win you game. They don't have to be the spectacular, but they have to be difficult plays that major leaguers make consistently, and whether it's getting a read on a ball or making a throw, he hasn't done that per se. But, if you hit a lot, you're willing to overlook him. Like with Donovan, I expected to be some growing pains. He didn't get a lot of opportunities in games down in spring training. There just wasn't a lot. And the way the field played down there is very different. But I figure, I knew there would be growing pains in the sense, too. People forget when Eugenio Suarez came over, he was not good for the first month or two defensively. He wasn't elite. He wasn't as good as what we saw him later. He got better by doing the Perry Hill stuff every day, every single day, not just in spring training, but every single day in the big league season. And that helped him get better. And I think we'll see that with Donovan. And obviously, if it gets to be too much of an issue, then, maybe by that time, Pope Emerson is ready to go. And I think we all know that he will be an upgrade defensively over Donovan. He'd be an upgrade, just because he's just younger, quicker, has played the position quite a bit in the minors, and he has that capability.
If you guys want to learn a bit more about Logan Gilbert's aggressiveness and his goals for this season, it's in Ryan's latest up on SeattleTimes.com and the Seattle Times app. He is Ryan Divish. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
You guys maybe at the game today?
Yes.
We will.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys there.
See you there.
See you, Ryan.
Bye. Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down to you, Stacy. What should we know about the Seahawks' latest top 30 visits?
Okay, so we have talked a lot about guys that could be a fit for them. What we have not talked about is whether or not those guys are actually coming in to visit. So I feel like we should clear that up. That yes, a few of them are. So we just had on Dane Brugler, and he mentioned really liking a couple cornerbacks, Colton Hood being one of those guys. He's had a visit. He also mentioned some edge rushers who could be available at the end of the first, kind of near the beginning of the second, with Cassius Howell and Malachi Lawrence out of Central Florida being two of those guys. They have also had top 30 visits. So I just made a mental note, we probably should follow up with whether or not the Seahawks are actually talking to these guys while we do a lot of asking of analysts about who could be a fit. There is another report here, though, that San Diego State cornerback Chris Johnson, whom Brugler also really likes for Seattle, did not show. Now, I don't know if Chris Johnson bailed, if he canceled. Info here is kind of limited. The only info is like, oh, he didn't actually have this visit. No clue why, but he didn't have this visit. Something to keep in mind for a guy that Dane also really likes for Seattle.
It makes me wonder, do they get that 30 visit back then?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, like if he never shows up.
Yeah.
Well, and if it's something where he had to cancel because of an emergency, I would assume that doesn't take him off the board.
Yeah.
But if he just completely bails, I'd be curious to ask John Schneider, like, what's that mean? If a guy just doesn't show up for his 30 visit, is he totally off your board, or do you just kind of out of spite go, well, too bad, buddy. We think you're good.
Second down. The Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel
the saga continues.
We'll talk a little bit more about it and just kind of the latest that has been unveiled through all that coming up in the timeline. But, Stacey, we keep hearing about a double standard that exists between Rossini and Vrabel. Is there one?
Okay, I'm treading into delicate waters here.
Okay.
Bear with me. But I was really trying to think about it as someone who used to be a reporter, like what I would think is ethical and kind of like what you're supposed to do. I don't think there's as much a double standard in the tasks that they are responsible for, the role that they're responsible for upholding. I think that there is an onus on a reporter to not only try to be unbiased, but to disclose those kinds of relationships, if there was a relationship, to disclose that, right? Like that there is an actual ethical work-related thing there being violated, if this is true. All of it's alleged, but if that's true. So no, I don't. I do think there's a different responsibility that a reporter has in this case compared to a head coach. Where I think the double standard comes in and is kind of always present is the way that men and women are talked about in this case. Yeah. With the idea that, yes, I think Diana is responsible for upholding that coverage in a much more ethical way, but she's also going to be talked about. She's going to lose any credibility and will be talked about in a very different way than Will Vrabel. I think that these kinds of things with men are just kind of like written off.
Right.
And even if she had a different responsibility, it's that people just love to jump on the idea of completely trashing.
Well, and they both have failed morally.
Yes, there is a moral failure on both parts.
I would say that moral failure is equal.
Yes.
With both parties.
Agree with that.
No one has done one thing worse than the other.
Yes. So
but
I think
unfortunately the public perception of the two will not be equal.
Totally agree. So I think it's about there was a different responsibility for a reporter, but how are we covering both people and how are we talking about both people? Does that differ based on being a man or a woman? And I think the answer is yes. We're going to switch things up. Third down, a baseball question here, Curtis. What's got you saying in a very Brian Windhurst-esque fashion, what's going on here?
What's going on
with
here?
The Mariners?
So I asked Divish about it, and it's just been something that I've kind of been wondering about ever since opening day when we asked Jerry DiPoto, hey, when can we expect Bryce Miller back? He said he was tracking for late April. It's April 13th, and it got me thinking about George Kirby and how it took him a little bit longer to get back than it was anticipated to start the year last year. Kirby and Bryce Miller both were shut down around the same time, kind of early to mid-March. Kirby in 25, Miller here in 26. And so Kirby needed 3 rehab starts before he made his 2025 debut on May 22nd. Now, if Miller makes 3 rehab starts right now, that would put him on track to return in that late April timeline of about April 30th or May 1st, whatever date lands on his scheduled start. But we have not heard anything on Bryce Miller in a while. Mm-hmm. And normally we do hear from the Mariners at the start of each homestand with some injury updates. That didn't happen.
What's going on
here? I am wondering if Bryce Miller's time frame may be pushed back a little bit. Maybe not the end of April so much, but probably more into May.
Fourth down. Also sticking with baseball. What's catching your eye with the American League standings?
Well, it's that everybody is bunched up in nearly the exact same spot.
What?
everybody in the American League is within 3 games of each other. The worst team, the Chicago White Sox, are just 3 games back of the best team, the Minnesota Twins.
Okay, so White Sox and Twins going to the playoffs. What's next?
Let me tell you who will probably end up being the 2 worst teams in the American League this season, the White Sox and the Twins.
You're telling me standings don't matter?
I'm telling you that if you're making sweeping declarations about what this season's going to look like on April 13th, you're going to be in for quite the surprise. Heck, just 3 days ago, we were saying the sky is falling about the Mariners, who were sitting at 4-9. Now they're on the verge of a 4-game sweep and could be 8-9 heading out on the road against the Padres coming up tomorrow. So things turn on a dime so fast this time of year. Heck, the Yankees got off to a fantastic start. They were, 8-2? What's their record now, 8-7?
Bums.
Yeah. So it is a fruitless task to just say, yep, this team stinks, this team is awesome on April 13th. You got to let it play out before you can really pin any team down. I think the only team that we can definitively say is going to be good and has been good out of the gates this year is the Dodgers.
Yes, which we knew.
Yeah, they're 11-4. They're going to be fine. They're going to be leading the National League West all year long.
You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus today. Timeline coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, every afternoon at 2.
We had the John Schneider show yesterday. He's in rarefied air, I think, with the fan base. He could pretty much make any move he wants, and the fans are going to go, okay, yeah, I'm on board.
There's one. Draft at number 32, draft a kicker. there we go. I think that's the only thing he could do.
Well, all of a sudden that guy's booting 66-yarders on the regular, and people are going, see?
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with 0 investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Will?
When I was 50, my whole life fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my wife, I lost the house, I lost pretty much everything except for my life. When the IRS came calling, I just didn't have it in me. I felt like Wile E. Coyote, just waiting for that IRS anvil to drop.
Then Will found Tax Relief Advocates.
I heard their advertisement on the radio, I wrote down the number, and I made the call that changed everything. The IRS gave me a bill for $40,000. Tax Relief Advocates got that down to $3,200. I've paid 9 cents on the dollar. Now that's a great deal in anybody's book.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Will did and call TRA for a consultation.
But for me, the real win is I got my life back.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-488-2578. 800-488-2578. That's 800-488-2578.
Bull riding is not just a sport, it's a gamble of guts and glory. Nothing else compares. It's Cooper Tire's PBR Tacoma at Tacoma Dome, April 24th and 25th. Ready to beat Cowboy? Get your tickets at Ticketmaster. It's bull time.
The stock market was on fire in 2025 due to AI and tech stocks. Now is the time to set a strategy for 2026. It's a good opportunity to lock in those gains and invest into a stable platform. With $8 trillion in cash sitting on the sidelines, investors are either scared or unsure where to go. Hi, I'm Scott Rurecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. Legacy Group Capital develops local real estate, lends money, and shares the profits with our investors. Diversify with Legacy Group Capital. Invest into our Northwest Fund, which is currently delivering 9% on a fixed rate term. It's our flagship fund for 19 years with zero investor losses. And yes, we do accept IRAs. Find out why 1,300 local investors have invested over $350 million.
Legacy Group Capital at legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Trust is everything. Earning it takes years. Losing it takes 5 seconds.
Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Mariners and Astros today at T-Mobile. First pitch at 1:10, pregame at noon. Hear every pitch live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
When the dollar's convertibility into gold ended in 1971, gold was fixed at $35 an ounce. Fast forward to today, and the U.S. dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold has increased in value by over 12,000%. Central banks are buying gold at record levels. Major firms are holding significant positions in gold. And I choose to buy gold from Birch Gold Group. Stan Bongino, and it all starts with education. Birch Gold just announced their Learn and Earn Precious Metals event. This free online event rewards you for learning the basics of investing in precious metals. Sign up to get free silver on your next purchase if you qualify. And you can get even larger incentives as you go. The more you learn, the more you can earn. But act now. This special event only runs through April 30th. So text my name, Dan, to the number 989898 to join Birch Gold's Learn and Earn Precious Metals event by April 30th. Text Dan to 989898 today. Message and data rates may apply.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
With Popeye's new $6 faves menu, you can get this 3-piece chicken, this 3-piece tenders, this chicken sandwich, or these 2 regular sides for just $6 a piece. I know you can't see what I see, but trust me, those bold Louisiana flavors look so good, you might just have to get them all. Now there's an idea.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Limited time at participating U.S. restaurants. Price may vary. Terms apply.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
As a reminder, Curtis and I are out of here early for the Mariners matinee series finale against the Astros. That means What I Need to Know is coming your way at 11:45. Get those questions in. Any question now to the text line 866-979-3776. It also means the Mariners pregame show comes your way at noon, about 30 minutes from now. Taking a look around the timeline, we're going to start with a viral story, the very latest developments from Rossini Vrabel Watch 2K26. If you keep thinking, why is this news? I don't know. I'm not making it the top headline on ESPN. ESPN is.
I mean, it's a head coach that was in the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl,
year,
Curtis.
And also one of the foremost
prominent voices in sports reporting.
One of the biggest NFL reporting names.
Okay, so here's what you need to know. It was reported over the weekend Mike Vrabel will not be participating at the Patriots pre-draft press conference alongside Patriots VP Elliott Wolf. I wonder why.
Why? Why not? Look.
Okay, I have a real question.
Yeah.
Should he?
I think he needs to address it at some point. Or at least maybe
I think they feel like their statement's enough.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it a lot where guys in very powerful positions in the NFL are able to kind of duck the criticism.
Oh, yeah.
That comes their way.
Well, that's kind of what I was
kind of shielding themselves. I mean, he'll get asked about it at whatever his first media availability is, whether it be after the draft or what have you. And I'm sure he's going to have a prepackaged answer.
Yes.
And saying, like, I'm not going to, speak on something that's currently an ongoing investigation.
I think that this is something that will stick with her for the rest of her career.
Yeah.
And I think that the bar, it's not fair, but I think the bar is lower for men. And I know I'm getting into gender dynamics and the way that we talk about men and women compared to anything that's really newsworthy per se. But I think that there are people that are going to look at Vrabel and go, "Oh, you dog," and that'll be it.
Yeah.
And it's never going to come up again.
Well, and that reputation comes with, like, fair or not, that reputation comes with, like, being an athlete or a coach, because
absolutely
there's a long history of stuff like that happening. Not necessarily involving a prominent reporter covering the league, but, like, Tiger Woods, we've all know his story. Like, that is maybe the most prominent story that like this, but yeah, I think those two will not face the same amount of criticism. And I think it would be a noble thing for him to do, to actually kind of face the music on this, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, and he will not, is the latest. The New York Times, whose parent company of The Athletic, has announced they've launched an investigation into the photos. Diana Rossini will not be reporting on NFL News at this time. That, it sounds like, is issued from The Athletic, so less of her ducking it, more of them saying basically, no, you're not going to be doing anything right now.
They both have said that the photos didn't tell the whole story. And
yes.
It's like, okay, you said that you were there on a boys' trip and that she was there on a girls' trip.
So just tell us what we need to know.
I just find it interesting that they managed to book their separate trips to the same hotel in a pretty remote location.
Well, and look, if I'm going on a trip with my boys, or if I'm going on a trip with my girls, I'm going to have text to show. I'm going to have some photos from what we're doing. And I'm going to be like, look, I know this photo looks damning.
Yeah.
But here are some texts with me and my friends saying, like, hey, I'll see you guys in the lobby and whatever. And it sounds like The Athletic is waiting on that information.
Well, The Athletic, I think, originally came out and said, like, there's nothing here. Like, we're just going to continue moving forward with this. And now they've kind of backtracked and said, well, actually, we need to do a proper investigation before we can do anything else. And honestly, like, keeping Rossini off of the NFL beat right now is probably best for their brand, because she did actually post something to social media in the days since this, and it was about the referee lockout with the Referees Association and their CBA negotiations with the NFL. She did post something about it, but none of the comments on it were about the actual topic. It was entirely about this, and, you know, people posting, you know, an elephant in the room picture, and
which again goes to that thing about, like, I'm not saying it's undeserved. You said it perfectly. It's a moral failing by both. But the way that people will talk about a woman in this case will always be worse. People are going to very quickly forget about it, or even, like, give credit to a man. And at the end of the day, if this is true, those are two spouses and two families that are equally going to be hurt by it. It doesn't make it, like, just funny because a man does it. It's also pretty horrible.
Yeah, I think that's the one portion of this story that is kind of forgotten in all this, is that they're both of them have their own families and children and spouses.
Let's see. Mike McDonald stopped by ESPN set at the Masters over the weekend, and he got his very own swing breakdown from ESPN golf analyst Andy Northcutt 11. Take a listen.
Congratulations, Coach, on a Super Bowl win. I'm guessing you haven't played an awful lot of golf over the last 4 or 5 months, but you have played a lot of golf before that. You've got a really good golf swing, and if I spend a little bit more time in the gym, you might be as big as some of your linebackers.
Okay, it is true, though, right? As a head coach, you don't want to be like, wow, that golf swing looks incredible. You must have been playing a lot.
Well, John Harbaugh used to give me crap all the time. He said if my golf game was too good, that meant I probably wasn't doing my job well enough. So that stuck with me over the years.
I like the critiques of just saying, we got to give it to you straight, Mike.
That's how popular Mike McDonald has become in such a short amount of time, is that he is a guest star on ESPN's Masters coverage.
He's so marketable.
Yeah, I think his kind of aw shucks personality, people really find endearing.
It's last year's Cal.
It is, yeah. And
there have been many iterations of that with other guys in other leagues, too. It's
I did see the video of his swing. It's pretty good. Like, it's pretty good. You can tell that he has golfed before. I know Bump would love to break down his swing. and just get really deep in the weeds on that. But I'll leave that to him. But I think, what was it? Sam Darnold was on the Masters coverage last year too at one point. So, I mean, just making it an annual thing. I don't even know how you get your hands on tickets to the Masters. I wonder if just they give them to you when
They're
you
like
win
a
the Super Bowl.
lottery. I'm not even in the tax bracket to know.
So I think there is a lottery to get in. I also think you got to know people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Brock got to attend one time.
I was going to say this year.
No, I think it may have been last year or the year prior to that.
But see, that's what I'm saying about that tax bracket.
Brock knows
Brock's
people that, like,
in a different circle, social circle, success circle, financial circle.
I mean,
I can't fathom.
He texts like Peyton Manning. Like,
you know what I mean?
I can't.
Who's the most famous person in your phone right now? Well, you're a producer, so it's different.
Yeah.
Like you've probably got Schefter in your phone.
I do. And Schefter actually texts back. It's often no, he will not come on the show. But I have heard back from Schefter. I have Ken Griffey Jr.'s number in my phone, but I don't think he's ever responded to me. Clay Thompson, he's in my phone. I got Shams we had on the show a couple weeks ago. He actually texted me back to say that he could come on. So yeah.
Who's the nicest big name that you've texted where they were actually like, "Oh, thanks for having me on," or like, "Hey, Curtis, no problem."
Boy, nicest big
name. Yeah. You know what? Who's the nicest and rudest guest you booked for us?
Rudest? I'll say it. Ray Ferraro, ESPN NHL analyst.
Put it out there.
He yelled at me on the phone one time.
No.
Yeah. And then
let's get him back on.
Yeah, nicest
and
guest.
Confront him.
Well, I guess biggest name that has given me a yes before was Tony Dungy.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could see him being a nice dude.
Yeah, he was really nice.
Let's go around the diamond. The Mariners go for a series mop of the Astros. Game 4 matinee finale today at noon. Excuse me, pregame is at noon. First pitch is at 1:10 p.m. on Seattle Sports, 7:10 a.m. and the Seattle Sports app. That's Around the Diamond, brought to you by Klein Jewelers, Edmonds. You're listening to Bump and Stacy on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app. Curtis Rogers in for Michael Bumpus. Get your questions in for What I Need to Know now. 866-979-3776.
Wyman and Bob.
I know Mariner fans love hearing this. Be patient.
Every afternoon at 2.
That's a dirty word. Go ahead. Start sending the text and tell me how stupid I am. You come into the season and go, oh, man, I can't wait. I think this is kind of a shock to the system for a lot of Mariner fans coming out of the gate. I still am fully believe in this team. And, like you said, all of the experts that are out there, they thought this too. I don't think anybody's jumping ship yet.
Only on Seattle Sports and Seattle Sports on YouTube.
When I go to a dealership, I don't want to be pushed into buying something. Sometimes I just want to look around, test drive, and check out the new features. When I went to Wayscar Ford in Auburn, they got that. There was no pressure. It actually turned out to be a fun experience because they were genuinely excited to show me the cool features and newer models. They only want to sell you a car if you want to buy one. And the thing I want most is to be able to trust the person I'm working with. A new car is a huge investment. I have to be honest. I don't know a ton about cars. I do know it's the second largest thing next to a house that most people will ever buy. So yes, I want to make sure I'm buying from a reputable place. I want a warranty. I want to make sure I'm covered if for any reason I change my mind. Wayscar Ford has that. A 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back guarantee. There's a reason they've been in Auburn for 104 years. Go see them. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. That's wayscarford.com.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Upgrade your comfort and cut energy costs with Lake Washington Windows. Get 20% off energy-efficient windows and doors, plus $1,000 off whole home projects. Enjoy 18 months, no payments, no interest. Schedule your estimate by April 15th at lakewashingtonwindows.com.
Dino was suffering from a rotator cuff tear in his right shoulder.
Part of the pain is like taking off my shirt. I couldn't even really button my pants. I could actually qualify for a shoulder replacement if I wanted to go that route.
He chose to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the commercials for Dr. Wagner. I did my research. I thought about surgery But the recovery time was so long, I didn't want to have to be in this lane. I want to be able to retire in a few months, get back to bike riding and playing golf without any pain in my shoulder.
Dino knew from experience that stem cell therapy works. Dr. Wagner had already helped him recover from osteoarthritis in his thumb, but he's not done yet.
And now 2 years later, I'm having an issue with my left shoulder, so I've got it scheduled. I'm going to go back to see Dr. Wagner again because it was so successful.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
Thinking about upgrading your water heater? Snohomish PUD can help. Right now, you can get $1,000 back when you install a qualifying heat pump water heater. These systems use far less energy than standard electric tanks, which means lower electric bills for you. Oh, nice. Choose an eligible model, apply for your rebate within 90 days, and get cash back from PUD. Learn more at snowpud.com/rebates.
Got neighbors? Big Trees can help. This is Nancy Penrose, owner of Big Trees in Snohomish. If you've been considering planting trees to add privacy, look no further than Big Trees. Privacy trees fill in empty spaces, help to define property lines, and add curb appeal. Learn more about Big Trees' big supply of privacy trees at bigtreesupply.com.
Beauty, privacy, instantly. Big Trees.
Mariners and Astros today at T-Mobile. First pitch at 1:10, pregame at noon. Hear every pitch live for free on the Seattle Sports app.
Spring is here, Seattle, and now is the smartest time to replace your roof. Trust your neighbors at 3 Tree Roofing, a local, family-owned company that knows how to roof in Washington weather year-round. Schedule your free estimate today at 3treeroofing.com to take advantage of spring pricing, shorter wait times, and get $500 off your new roof before the summer rush hits. Our experts come to you, build a clear plan, and give you an estimate that same day. No surprises and no high-pressure sales tactics. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Hello, Seattle. Bank of America, in partnership with Visa, invites you to a FIFA World Cup 26 watch party. Open an eligible Bank of America checking account in participating financial centers only for an opportunity to reserve 2 complimentary tickets while supplies last. Experience special musical guests, games, giveaways, food, and more, all at a legendary venue. Learn more at BofA.com/BofA Visa Watch Party. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 26. Bank of America NA, member FDIC. Terms apply. All rights reserved.
Well, spring is all about getting ready for summer, isn't it? But do you have a room just sitting empty and you've dreamt of making it your own home gym? Hey, Brock Heward here, and working out in your own home, well, it is the best. We've been doing so for years, and you can allow Top Fitness to create your own home gym. Simply give them your room dimensions, and they'll do the rest. A complete fitness room design. It's no secret why everyone, from personal trainers to pro athletes, love Top Fitness. Top Fitness represents the very best brands in fitness, like Precor, Inspire Fitness, along with many others. They also have everything from flooring to weights that go in a home gym. And right now, get spring special financing with 0% interest for 12 months, plus mention me and receive an $150 credit towards any purchase over $1,000. Spring is here to get you in the best shape, so go get into Top Fitness with locations in Tukwila, Linwood, and Bellevue, or simply visit topfitness.com for more info. That's Top Fitness, your best place for home fitness equipment.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your question in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Curtis, I have a question for you as a listener. If you were to text Griffey, you said, as a producer, Curtis has a lot of huge names in his phone. Schefter, Griffey, Shams. How do you actually address those people? Like, hey, Ken, Curtis here.
So I start off every important text to a guest by introducing myself. You know, Curtis Rogers from Seattle Sports, and then I'll be like, "Hey, are you available?" And then I give them a bunch of times, any of these times, for a conversation with Michael Bump Stacy Ross. We'd love to have you on. Feel free to respond when you get the chance. And a lot of times, I don't even hear back from these people. a big thing that you got to get used to as a producer is rejection.
Yeah.
You're going to hear no a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. But the ones that do tell you yes, like it makes it all worth just sending out that text, because then it's like, oh man, like
I do that as quietly like it's not the definitive sign of being a good person, but like in my like good person calculator is the metric of just polite to people that don't matter, right? I'm not saying that we don't matter, but like I am at the bottom of the totem pole of anyone that I'll talk to.
Yeah.
I am not like a big name. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not anything. And when someone's still like, oh yeah, Stacy, no problem. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
What a nice dude.
I know. Well, that was the thing
So
with when I got Shams on the show, ESPN NBA insider Shams Charania. His return text to me was like, hey, Curtis, great to hear from you. And it's like, I've never texted you before. What do you mean great to hear from you? But also it was like, thanks, man. Like,
what if he texts you back? He's like, hey, what are you up to, man?
Yeah, what you guys got going on?
I'm in Seattle. I don't know if you're busy or anything.
Very busy.
Want to hang out. 866-979-3776. What I need to know. What is your most, I like this one. What's your most annoying / despised sports stat?
Ooh.
This listener says, I'll go first. Combined no-hitter makes me heated. It's like the Diet Coke of no-hitter. First of all, excuse you, because Diet Coke is actually the best soda, but I get what you're saying, listener, because a combined no-hitter is really cool, but it's not a no-hitter.
I will say this, though, like, I've gotten to know Charlie Furbush pretty well over the last few years of him being a member of part of a combined no-hitter, and that's a big accomplishment for those guys. Like, his picture will forever be on the wall outside of this broadcast booth forever and ever and ever because of that game.
I get what he's saying, though, where he's like, a combined no-hitter is cool for all of those guys, but he doesn't like, it's like it should be a separate kind of stat instead of seen as. So, like, for instance, winning is really important. It's the most important thing you can do, but quarterback wins is one of them for me, where I'm like, this is so dumb. So dumb.
One stat that used to get me really heated is it was during the 2020 football season, and the Seahawks offense was putting up like franchise record numbers, but if you zoomed out a little bit, they were also only like, I think like 10th in total points that year. And it was like, okay, yeah, you set a team record, but your offense is also still kind of mediocre. Like, don't tell me that. Don't say, like, we had a great year offensively in comparison to what they had done in the 70s and 80s and 90s when offensive numbers were not, we're not anywhere close to what they are now. You need to be competing against the teams you're directly competing against, not past versions of yourself.
So you hate isolated stats that are used to prop up a pretty mediocre thing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
That's when people get really, really specific with their stats. Or like, this is the first team on a Tuesday.
Pete Carroll did a lot for this city, but he would constantly bang the drum on that stat, and it would drive me up a wall every time he did it. No, Pete, it's not a good year offensively.
253 saying, I actually think a combined no-hitter is harder to accomplish because you need 3 or 4 guys to have their best days as opposed to one.
There are far more solo no-hitters than there are combined no-hitters. That's true. It is not easy to do.
I'll entertain that take. I'm not mad at that take. Is there another one that I missed?
Let's see here. What I need to know: what NFL draft day is best and worst to cover, and why? Best is first day.
The first day, because it's just there are bigger names, lots of excitement, and like, look, I'm really curious. It depends. If you only care about your team, it's pretty boring, especially if you're at 32. But I think it's really fun to watch the draft in general, and by far, the most in-depth coverage is going to happen on day 1. For Seattle, the busiest is going to be day 3.
Yes. Picks come in way faster on day 3 than they do on the previous 2 days. So you're going to end up getting like 3 or 4 picks to break down when you're on the air. Whereas day 1, you're only going to get the 1.
Yeah.
Unless they trade back into the first round.
What I need to know, Curtis, this one is for you from the 206. I saw and listened to your interview with Julio, Curtis. Do you think his maturity level for the game changed or consistent? I think they're saying, or has remained consistent, maybe they're...
I mean, he definitely, like, carries himself with the presence of a veteran now. He doesn't have quite the, exuberance that he showed as a rookie, but I think all in all, I mean, his energy's still there. Like, he's very much a force in that clubhouse, force on the field. Like, carries himself with quite an aura, as they would say. And he's got very pretty eyes, I must say.
Oh, my God. You can get lost in him. It's like the ocean.
I did yesterday.
Who have you noticed, because you've done many a post-game interview over several seasons, who has really impressed you with his growth over those couple seasons? You have a couple possible answers here, because guys just grow up. But.
Yeah, I remember being at J.P. Crawford's introductory press conference all those years ago. I think he was seated alongside Malik Smith and somebody else. Justice Sheffield.
Yes, remember Justice Sheffield?
Yeah, those three guys were on the podium all together, and J.P. Crawford did not want to be on the podium that day. He did not want to be under those bright lights. He did not want to be talking to, the press that was there that day. And then I think about him now, and he's starring in commercials for the team, and there have been times where he's grabbed the mic from Angie or Jen Mueller when she was on.
You can just see a
Mariners
comfort
TV,
level.
and he grabs the mic out of their hands, and then just there was that one time I think he swore into the mic. It was just holy cow, this is not the same guy that was here all those years.
I wonder if there's just
comfortability. I mean, he's established himself.
And you kind of remember back in the day when Mitch Garver had that article come out in the Players Tribune. I think that there's an ownership of the team that Haniger, excuse me. I think there's an ownership of the team that guys start to take. Speaking of that team, finale against the Astros coming your way. Pre-game show starts at noon. That is next.
You can stream every pitch of every inning of every game all season long. Oh, and it's completely free.
It's a tremendous catch.
Only on the Seattle Sports app. That's right. The free Seattle Sports app puts every single Mariners game right in the palm of your hand.
On a platter, come and get it.
One app, every game. Plus the latest Mariners news, insider access, video, and podcasts.
Holy smokes, what a play!
Pretty awesome, right? Just like the Mariners.
I had pain. I had numbness in my feet. That pain and that numbness just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
This is Greg describing life with neuropathy.
I went to 5 podiatrists, tried different treatments, tried different orthotics, tried different shoes, had cortisone shots in the tops and the bottoms of my feet. Saw a neurologist. All my medical doctors said, can't help you. Live with the pain. You're not going to be able to sleep. This is your life. And then I just gave up until I found Sound Pain Solutions.
I'm Dr. Mark Shelley, a chiropractic physician and board-certified functional neurologist at Sound Pain Solutions. Our neuropathy treatments can rehabilitate damaged nerves. We use FDA-cleared, non-surgical, drug and pain-free procedures that help neuropathy sufferers like Greg find relief.
I feel better. I mean, just feeling better is huge.
If you experience numbness, shooting or burning pains, or loss of balance, call us. Sound Pain Solutions, 855-996-0025, or click soundpainsolutions.com.
Make this spring even sweeter with healthy saltwater soaks in a hot spring spa. During Olympic Sweet Spring Savings Event, save up to $3,000 on the hot tub of your dreams. Ends April 14th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Meet the company electrifying the marine industry. ARC, a fully electric boat that feels like a luxury EV. Significantly less maintenance and service, ARC is built to be as easy to operate as it is to maintain. Featuring heated seats and seat backs, a large display, easy handling, and impressive kick. You have to see it and experience ARC for yourself. Book a demo. They'll pick you up on Lake Washington, Lake Union, or Lake Sammamish if you can't come to them in Kirkland. Go to arcboats.com/demo. ARC. You have to see it to believe it.
Ooh, that face. Quantum fiber internet loves that face.
That's Jamila.
Yay to Jamila.
She's thinking outside the box from inside the box.
Quantum fiber Wi-Fi keeps her meeting game strong. From the back door to the front lawn.
Rushing all of her video calls. Back to back to back video calls.
Quantum fiber internet blowing the socksies up all those people in all those boxes. Yay to you.
Switch
pods today at quantumfiber.com. Additional pods may be needed to achieve Wi-Fi coverage in some locations. Limited availability. Service in select locations only.
Spring is a season homeowners start improving their homes. Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. If your home needs roofing, siding, new windows, gutters, or decking, our team can take care of it all. For a limited time, save up to $3,000 on a new roof, siding, deck, or windows project. Planning multiple upgrades? Combine your projects and save even more. Or with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest up to 24 months. You can start your project now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Brandy Cruz. Hey, Brandy, why? Why First Mark Insurance?
Service. I wondered for a second whether I was getting the VIP treatment, and I kind of asked, hey, is this what you do for everyone? And they're like, of course. The whole First Mark Challenge is meant to be personal, right? So it really is tailored and meant to be a personal experience for every single person. I will say I've just done whatever is the quickest and cheapest type of insurance, and I realized while I was doing it, wow, this is what it feels like to get insurance as a real adult. We had a million questions, and they walked us through every step of the process, and then they're working for you. So they're not working for insurance companies, they're working for you. To experience that level of service really shows you what the difference is with First Mark.
Brandy did it. My family did it. You got to do it. It's totally free. Take the First Mark Challenge. See how much money they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you will be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Go to firstmarkinsurance.com.
Opened in 1933, our family is still here, doing the right thing for your family.
Lee Johnson Auto Family, the LJ way.
A multi-billion-dollar settlement is paying claims for up to 21 years. If you were exposed to weed killers at work or at home, your rights are affected. If you or your family has or had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, you could receive $6,000 to $165,000 or more. This settlement impacts you even if you're not sick, because this blood cancer can take 10 to 15 years to appear. If you stay in the settlement, you give up your right to sue. Learn more at weedkillerclass.com or call 888-403-8201. Paid for by the Roundup Settlement.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.